India heads into the Kharif season with monsoon still uncertain. That's putting fresh focus on soluble fertilizers, how available they are, how affordable and how dependent India still is on imports. Let's break down what does it mean for farmers and for the industry. We have with us Mr. Rajib Chakraborty, President of Soluble Fertilizer Association of India, to share about the ground reality. Thank you for joining with PTI.
Thank you for having me here.
With the monsoon outlook weak this Kharif season, how adequate is India's support for soluble fertilizers right now, and which products are most likely to face shortages if rains stay poor?
Rain actually, moderate rain actually helps soluble fertilizer to grow because of excess rain, farmers are very reluctant to use drip irrigation. With adoption of drip irrigation, soluble fertilizer is also utilized across crops, across the state, across geographical areas, and we always, moderate rain is not a problem for us as such. Rain is required, but if there is lesser rain, then we also have more chance to grow.
There's been concern about how soluble fertilizers are tagged or sold alongside subsidized fertilizers. Is that confusing farmers or distorting pricing and access?
Farmers is at a very bad position in terms of tagging fertilizers with subsidized fertilizers. It happens happens at various levels, at the company level, at the distributor level, at the dealer level. So it's a natural tendency to it's an easy selling process when we have one strong product and then one weak product. Tagging has done perennial damage to this industry because tagging has come later. Initially it was the MSME invented, MSME developed industry, all specialty fertilizers. Later on big players came in with given the kind of volume they were interested. Again, it's a natural process and there is no harm in it, but then the easy selling process has really made farmers' life very difficult. They have no choice. If they want to get a bag of urea, they have to get specialty fertilizers. So what is happening, the new invented products or augmented products are actually not reaching the dealer shelf. Not reaching, it's a very negligible amount is actually reaching. So because of this, actual volume is with the companies who are doing tagging in fertilizers. If we are able to break this barrier, we will see tremendous growth. The growth we had seen in late 90s and early 2000, up till 2005, 2007. So that kind of, when it was growing 35% a year. And a lot of new players were coming, new entrepreneurs were coming, and they were actually making farmer contacts. Many farmers and their next generation jumped into this field and they took the opportunity. So they're very sound technically. They understood the concept, they practiced that concept and then started propagating it.
So what's the way out?
The way out is, the tagging is one issue which is now taken up by the government, and more importantly, we expect a big reform in the fertilizer control order and special categories and protection to be created for the MSMEs who are doing innovation, inventions. Only loan will not help. I would like to put it this way, after the farmers, MSME, especially agri MSME, are at the verge of collapse because they are all loan ridden, debt ridden. They have taken huge loan from the banks, they have created a setup and they are failing, which is very, very concerning. And they cannot ask for a Karz Maafi loan waiver.
That's true. So the only way out is reforms in the FCO order.
Yes, FCO reform will help in a very big way. It will allow this the entire the small sector to actually go out and start selling. Their horizon will be increased. They can go across the state. They can go to any part of the country where there is a need for their specialized product. So they will have that advantage. And when and if the central government can make it a policy, I mean, make it a part of the policy to categorically asking the government companies to develop startups or MSME, and if they have a target or if they are bound to buy from the MSME, then they will definitely do. There is a law, very old law for the MSME, but that is not in practice.
So what policy support needed to reduce import dependency without disrupting farmers' access in the near term?
Farmers' access will not be disturbed. The first thing we need to do, as we are doing in all other sectors, which is initiated by the government, I will appreciate that, the thought process is very important. And at the grassroots level, there requires huge investment. We are talking about private investment, FDIs, foreign funds, VCs. That will never come to, for doing R&D, for creating new products or new systems or processes. Nobody is interested in putting money in this. I had a discussion with a VC, he's a very talented boy. He told me that in India VC only invest in virtual concepts, not in assets. So the investment has to come from the government only. Otherwise, what will happen? In the process of making more money, if somebody is putting money in a process, he will destroy the entire R&D ecosystem. And we do not have a R&D ecosystem which is happening at the MSME level, very unstructured, very unprofessional way, because they do not have resources to do all that, but they are doing it. If that is structured, we will suddenly see a boom in innovation.
Much of the India's soluble fertilizer demand is met through imports. What's been imports so far this year compared to last year, and how exposed are we to disruptions?
There was a lot of disruption, and the prices have gone up because China also stopped supplying one major water-soluble fertilizer, that is monoammonium phosphate, which we do not produce in India. But then one very interesting thing happened last year. Last year, fertilizer consumption was very poor because of excess of rain and flood situation in many important farming areas. So there was a stock carryover. Now, because of that stock carryover, it is still not viewed as a problem because supplies are there. But if farmer starts consuming water-soluble fertilizer in a big way, then the next lot of supplies are definitely in trouble. So we will be realizing the trouble as the season unfolds, and we will have shortage of some important water-soluble fertilizer. But so far, I don't see much of a problem.
And what's been the import so far in this fiscal?
Import is very, very restricted because supplies are not coming from China. Importers are looking for other countries like Russia and CIS. But then from Russia, CIS also there is limited products available. That's why the product price is very high.
So can you total figure that quantity that we can share, how much has been the import so far?
If we talk about the current financial year, I believe it is somewhere around 2.5 lakh tons that is imported, which is not.
Till June?
No, till June maybe 1 lakh ton, and because the major consumption is during September to January, February, March.
Okay.
So the actual season is yet to come.
And how much was it in the last year, the entire year?
Usually 400,000, that is 4 lakh ton water-soluble fertilizer we import, and then it is also growing year over year. So compared to that, there is less import has happened this year, but because of the stock carryover, the stock level hasn't depleted to a dangerous level. It is still workable.
Has the West Asia crisis or China's export policy affected shipments, raw material availability, or prices for soluble fertilizers in India?
In a big way, in a very big way. For example, monoammonium phosphate, where the normal price is around $1,000 for last couple of years, that is now selling at $1,500, $1,600 per ton. And increase in $600 per ton means it's a big thing. So once farmers are exposed to these high price levels, then I believe the consumption of water soluble fertilizer will drop suddenly, because they will not use it instead of such expensive fertilizers.
In this Kharif season?
Yes, it is affecting, and farmers are looking for the nearest option, nearest replacement of these soluble fertilizers, which are very expensive.
So what is that option?
Actually, in FCO there are many fertilizers, and new fertilizers are added every year. So there are many very close replacement fertilizers, like monoammonium phosphate provides 61% P2O5, which is phosphorus. So now farmers are looking for something with 22% phosphorus, SSP and many other phosphatic fertilizers, which has comparatively lesser phosphate and also not that expensive, is preferred by the farmer. So there is a shift.
Are current stock levels and prices holding up, or are we already seeing tightness and price increases ahead of peak season?
Prices are already up, so I think it is at the peak now. If it has to come down, it will come down only after a while. And those consignments have started hitting the Indian ports. It will definitely, once it is packed and distributed through the channel, farmers will suddenly get a shock of this kind of pricing. But then yes, this is also some way that it is making farmers and the input sellers more innovative in finding close replacements. So that is one positive thing I see.
Can Indian manufacturers fill up the gap if imports slow down, and what's stopping domestic production from scaling up faster?
Manufacturing activity is not happening in soluble fertilizer in India. It's in a very limited scale. So filling up the gap is not in the scope. What will happen is some new manufacturing facilities or innovation will come up. But then this is not a crisis time practice or crisis time exercise. This has to be built over a very long period of time and with a lot of investment. What is happening now is we are talking about growing new organizations, very small organizations, and then making them big. But the usual practice, the import of fertilizer and selling it is so easy as compared to manufacturing anything here, that importers will be always they will always favor import. Like large corporations, many government corporations also, they have no option. They have to import the products. And we also have many policy restrictions. In one instance, there was one fertilizer which was made, in the country, which is a replacement, could not get permission to sell, and after it was pending for 1 year, and after that it was rejected. It's a very surprising case, So the system is pushing the entire industry to import.
Mm-hmm. So there is no scope for domestic production.
There is hardly any scope.
Which Kharif crops depend most heavily on soluble fertilizers at critical growth stages, and how does that importance change in a weak monsoon year compared with a normal one?
There are two sides. One is crops that are using fertilizers, the specialty fertilizers. Now every crop in India uses specialty fertilizer as an input. Because with the application of the specialty fertilizer, the yield has gone up. So the farmer would definitely like to compromise on the yield, because that is directly linked with their income and profitability, with their household income. So they will try their best to get it from somewhere or some replacement. In a weak monsoon, if there is a scarcity of water, farmers will tend to use more of a spray fertilizer, which is water soluble fertilizer. Farming with less water, like 1/10 of water that soluble fertilizer consume while flowing through the drip. So there will be a tendency to adopt soluble fertilizer more and more. For example, cotton essentially have 2 sprays of soluble fertilizer. Every farmer in India does that. So if there is no rain, there will be yellow leaves, so they will tend to use more. So there's a big scope here, and usually I have seen, because I'm doing soluble fertilizer for almost 25 years now, and I have seen consumption grow, adoption grow only in the time of crisis. If there is no rain, then there will be a crisis, there will be yield drop, and then demand is good this time. I will tell you, for the small manufacturing activity that we are doing as an industry, very small activity, now there is a special focus on Indian manufacturers because imports have become very difficult. And even the large companies are looking for tying up with the small manufacturers, something domestic. Because now people have realized, after this incident, this Hormuz crisis and Iran crisis, people have started realizing that, depending upon other countries can put them in a big problem, which they were not thinking. I have not seen thinking in the last 20 years. This is happening for the first time. So, in my opinion, this has given a big lesson to the industry.
So during the weak monsoon, you said there is going to be more application of soluble fertilizers. It means there will be more demand. Whether such availability is there to meet the demand even through imports? Not only imports, because some popular products will become very expensive. Then cheaper and affordable products will be developed, and those will help the farmers in getting the kind of result they are looking for. So that way it will replace. So I strongly believe that the market size will increase during this time. It will be a growth year. How much?
See, 15 to 18% it was growing year over year, but I think it will somewhere near 25%. Not in value terms, because if value terms changes when the dollar becomes expensive. So volume wise. Yes, volume wise it is supposed to increase this year.
So 25% from over the last year. What is the total volume?
Total volume is nearly 400,000 tons, 4 lakh tons. Yeah. So only soluble fertilizer. Yeah, including SOMs. I mean, if you take all products together, then it is more than 10 lakh. 10 lakh thousand tons. 25%, 4.5 we should be able to reach. We may not get a exact figure at the end of this year, because this will come from an unorganized, unrecorded industry. So import is very easily recorded. So we can get the figures, but when it starts coming in from the local industry, it will not be tabulated the way or collated the way it is done for the imported fertilizer. But there will be increase for sure.
With rainfall expected to be uneven, should farmers lean more on foliar sprays and fertigation to manage crop nutrition this season?
Yes, of course. If the temperature is high and there is lesser rain and they have lesser water, they can manage the entire crop with these specialty fertilizers, and it is absolutely achievable. There is no need to panic. Whether rain is not that a big problem any longer.
Do current regulations support or hinder Indian companies trying to manufacture soluble fertilizers domestically?
Absolutely hinder. It is actually killing the innovation. Because just imagine if somebody has created something, a replacement or a new product which is already in the FCO, and a state is not allowing him for 1 year to register the product. Who is at loss? The farmers. It would have come at the 50% of the imported fertilizer cost.
India recently developed its first indigenous water-soluble fertilizer technology after 7 years of research. How soon that technology will help in easing import dependence, and is it relevant for this Kharif season at all?
Yes, it is important on various fronts. First of all, the idea of innovating things, the idea of import substitution. So it is also important because others will get motivated. That motivation is not there. Number 2, these new processes will help a complete replacement. Complete replacement means replacement of product, imported products, and also replacement of technology. So that complete replacement is very important. If we are talking about gasification, coal gasification today, we need to have our own process of coal gasification.
So how soon we can see the commercialization of this new
The
technology?
commercialization process has already initiated. I mean, the project is in the second phase of implementation, and it is already happening. First phase is very successfully run, and data is getting generated. So it is.
Any timeline that you specify it will be fully commercialized?
It will be commercialized in the sense the pilot will not be commercialized. It will produce some products which will be sold in the market. But then now a few large companies have shown interest in getting this technology transfer process, and talks are on with them. So if it is given to them, which is a very healthy process, and this is how it should grow, private companies, not government companies, and if they, because they have the funding, they have the resources, land, everything, and if they take it up, it will only take, it's a matter of 1.5 years, at the most 2 years.
Looking at everything together, what's the single biggest risk to the soluble fertilizer market this Kharif season?
The risk is, drop of consumption due to increase in price, because the moment it becomes very expensive, farmers they stop using it, they go back to the traditional fertilizer, urea, DAP, and there the subsidy budget goes up. It's a direct relation. So it is very important that that those prices should be under control, but which is not possible for anyone. It is not in our hand as a country. Current prices is it's almost 60 to 100% up.
Thank you for speaking with PTI. We'll continue to track whether supply, imports and rainfall stay in balance through the rest of this Kharif season.